Being a hyper-intelligent supercomputer on a giant alien factory planet is mind-numbingly dull. Years upon years of watching your hapless robotic minions trundle about the factory floor, doing the same things over and over again, can give rise to competitive and sadistic tendencies. I'm Gordon Craig, and I'm going to show you the joys and pitfalls of RoboRally, a game that puts you and your friends in control as a group of these supercomputers give in to their urges and agree to find out which of their robots can make it across the perilous factory floor first, and how much damage can be done to them on the way. RoboRally is a 25-year-old game by Richard Garfield, published by the then up-and-coming Wizards of the Coast, and I love it. You each take command of one of the cute paint-it-yourself robots, which all have their own name and backstory. The race takes place across one or more of these 6 unique game boards, each sporting a generous helping of obstacles. There are conveyor belts ready to whisk you forwards and backwards and spin you round, pits that lead to incinerators, lasers that streak across your path, and squashy things that will do you a wrong'un in the same way that they did for your cousin, Trevor 100. The winner is the first robot to reach the final checkpoint. Simple. Movement is handled by programming your robots with a set of instructions, represented by these very functional-looking program cards. These cards include instructions to move forwards 2 spaces, turn left, that sort of thing. A healthy robot is dealt a hand of 9 cards. You choose 5 of these cards and lay them face down in the order that you want to carry them out. Everyone then turns over 1 card at a time, moving their robots accordingly. It'll be a rare occurrence to find yourself with the exact cards you need, but when you pull off a successful maneuver, you get a real warm fuzzy feeling inside, as well as a round of high fives from the other players. Talking of other players, to make your task just that little bit spicier, there's also the fact that you're sharing the board with everyone else's robot, each of them moving as unpredictably as you. When one robot runs into another, it pushes it along 1 space. This may not seem like much, but it is often enough to completely mess up your well-laid plan. Did I mention that all of the robots have lasers that fire every time they move? Yes. Being shot by one is rarely fatal, with each blast doing only 1 hit point of damage. But it is where my favourite mechanic of the game comes into play, as the damage stacks up. Each point of damage that your robot receives means that you draw 1 fewer card each turn, making it harder and harder to find a combination that will move you toward the next checkpoint. When you've taken so much damage that you wouldn't have enough cards to fill your 5 slots, then your rightmost slot becomes locked, and your robot will carry out that same move at the end of every turn. If you take even more damage, the next slot in becomes locked, and your task becomes even harder. You can power down for 1 full turn so that your robot can repair itself. You'll wake up shiny and new. All of your slots will be unlocked, and you get to draw a full hand of cards. Hooray! Of course, you can't do anything that turn, meaning not only do the other players get to trundle further off into the distance, they could be really mean as they passed you and push you down a pit or onto a conveyor belt, and all you can do is watch. If I make it sound like this is a game where all of the players are continually cruel to each other, let me be clear, it is not. People are usually way too focused on keeping their own robot alive to spend too much time on acts of malice. Besides, there is something way more powerful than any laser that you can rely on to slow your opponents down. Human error. It is amazing how many times people get caught up in the excitement and forget which way is left and which way is right. They watch their robot go off in the wrong direction or bounce ineffectually off a wall. Their opponents will laugh, but more importantly, the player will laugh, because it is in these moments that much of the joy comes from in this shared journey that you are all on. And that brings me to the spanner in this well-oiled machine of a game. RoboRally is beloved of a certain crowd, and a bit of a chore to others. Getting that pesky little robot to go in the direction you're wanting it to just seems to come easier to some people. Not only do you need to be comfortable with setting out several instructions at a time, you also need to be able to picture the resulting movement in space. If you look up at the beginning of any given turn, you will see the other players trying to work out what direction they'll be pointing in after the conveyor belt has had its wicked way with them. Ah! While it's not often that people get annoyed playing this game, it does happen. Driving into the same pit for the third time in a row, or finding yourself unable to get off a conveyor belt, can make the feelings of frustration and resentment build up amidst the laughter. And that's no fun at all. Like many other board games, RoboRally is more about the journey than it is about reaching the finish line. When I play with my friends, we're usually far too overambitious when it comes to board layout, and eventually realise that no one is about to win anytime soon. We'll all agree to call it a draw, having become exhausted from the emotional roller coaster that we've just been on. Some of us will sit back with beatific smiles on our faces thinking, "That'll do, robot. That'll do." Others, however, will file away RoboRally with the other games that, whilst an interesting experience, was ultimately not for them. Do I recommend RoboRally? Of course I do. If you want to get yourself a copy, it was re-released back in 2016. Go on, get some robotic love in your life. That sounded very wrong.